If you want 2026 to be the year everything changes, stop fighting what's outside your control and start mastering what's inside you. Stoicism isn't ancient philosophy. It's the blueprint for becoming unstoppable in a chaotic world.
2026 can be the year everything changes for you.
Not because the world shifts, but because you do. Stoicism teaches a simple truth. Life is shaped not by your circumstances, but by your response to them. This year, you have the chance to reclaim your mind, your habits, your peace, and ultimately your destiny. Transformation doesn't begin with massive achievements. It begins with a decision, the decision to stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. Stoicism hands you a blueprint for this transformation, clear, practical, and profoundly powerful. The first principle is control, not of the world, not of people, not of outcomes, but of your own mind. Most of your suffering comes from trying to rule things that were never yours to rule. The moment you focus on what you can control, your actions, your attitude, your discipline, your life begins to move in the direction you want. In 2026, make this the year you stop wasting energy on what drains you and redirect it to what strengthens you. The second principle is presence. Regret chains you to the past. Anxiety drags you into the future. But power exists only in this moment, this breath, this decision, this action. When you learn to live fully in the present, you free yourself from the weight of everything you cannot change. You begin to act with clarity instead of fear. You begin to live instead of just existing. The third principle is discipline. Real change requires consistency, not emotion. Anyone can feel motivated for a day. Stoicism teaches you to act even when motivation disappears. Discipline is your ally, your shield, your engine. Build small habits that move you forward, habits that sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and align your actions with your values. Those small actions compound into a life you can be proud of. The fourth principle is resilience. Challenges are not interruptions to life, they are life. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Stoicism teaches you to ask, "How can this make me stronger?" Every obstacle in 2026 can become fuel for wisdom, fuel for patience, fuel for transformation. You grow through discomfort, not comfort, through effort, not ease. The fifth principle is emotional mastery. You are not a prisoner of your emotions. You are their observer, their governor, their guide. Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress or deny emotions. It teaches you not to let them rule you. When you pause before reacting, you reclaim control. When you stay calm in chaos, you display real strength. When you respond with logic instead of impulse, you elevate yourself above the noise of the world. And finally, Stoicism teaches purpose. Life becomes meaningful when you align yourself with what truly matters: integrity, courage, compassion, and reason. When your values guide your decisions, your path becomes clear. You stop drifting, you start moving with intention. This is your blueprint for 2026. Control what you can. Live in the present, build discipline, turn obstacles into opportunity, master your emotions, live with purpose. Transforming your life isn't about becoming someone new, it's about becoming the version of yourself that you were always meant to be: focused, grounded, unshakable. This is your year. The first step toward transforming your life in 2026 through Stoicism begins with the truth that seems simple but is rarely practiced: focusing only on what you can control. At first, this idea feels almost too small, too basic to create real change, but in reality it is the foundation of all personal power. Most of life's chaos comes from trying to manage the uncontrollable, other people's opinions, unexpected circumstances, the past that cannot be undone, or the future we cannot predict. When your energy is scattered across things that are outside your influence, you weaken yourself without even realizing it. But the moment you turn your attention inward, toward your actions, your thoughts, your behavior, and your choices, you begin reclaiming control of the only life you truly own. Transformation begins the moment you accept that your mind is your kingdom. You cannot command the world, but you can command yourself. You cannot force people to treat you fairly, but you can choose how you respond. You cannot stop challenges from coming, but you can decide whether they break you or build you. This shift in focus is powerful because it removes the illusion that life owes you something. Instead, it hands you the responsibility and the freedom to shape your own path. When you focus on what you can control, your anxiety begins to fade. Not because your problems disappear, but because you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You stop trying to rewrite the past. You stop trying to predict every outcome. You stop living in fear of circumstances beyond your reach. You enter a state of clarity where your emotional energy becomes aligned instead of scattered. This is where power grows. Imagine waking up each morning and asking yourself, what is within my control today? It could be your attitude, your effort, your discipline, your honesty, your patience, your reactions, your habits. These are small things, yet they shape your entire destiny. When you focus on these things, you stop being dragged by the world and start leading yourself through it. In 2026, the world may still be full of uncertainty, noise, and pressure. But your transformation doesn't depend on a peaceful world, it depends on a disciplined mind. If you can learn to guard your thoughts, to manage your reactions, and to choose your responses carefully, you will carry peace with you even into chaotic environments. Stoicism teaches that calmness is a form of strength, one that grows the more you focus on what truly belongs to you. Your character. Many people waste years trying to control others, trying to change them, convince them, impress them, or win their approval. This is one of the biggest traps in life. The truth is, the more you try to control others, the more powerless you become. Your emotions become tied to someone else's behavior. Your peace becomes dependent on their actions. Your happiness becomes fragile, but when you turn that energy inward and focus only on your own behavior, you become unshakable. You become someone who cannot be manipulated, discouraged, or derailed by the outside world. Every great transformation begins with internal discipline, not by changing everything around you, but by changing the one thing that matters most to you. This is the blueprint the Stoics lived by. When you commit to focusing only on what you can control, you step into a new level of freedom. You discover stability in moments that once overwhelmed you. You find strength in situations that once weakened you. You gain confidence because you finally understand that your power was never outside, it was always within. In 2026, let this be your starting point. Direct your energy where it has real impact. Let go of what you cannot change. Grow where you are capable of growing. When you master yourself, you master your life. Living fully in the present moment is more than a motivational phrase. It is a life-changing discipline that reshapes the way you think, act, and experience the world. Most people spend their lives trapped between two prisons: the past, which they cannot change, and the future, which they cannot predict. They replay old memories, mistakes, and regrets allowing them to shape their confidence. They also jump ahead into imagined outcomes, fears, and possibilities, allowing them to dictate their peace. But Stoicism teaches a profound truth. The only place where life actually happens is the present moment. Everything else is a story your mind creates. When you learn to anchor yourself in the present, you regain control over your mind. Your thoughts stop drifting into places that steal your peace. Your energy stops leaking into situations that don't exist anymore or haven't happened yet. You start to see life with clarity instead of through the fog of fear, guilt, or confusion. Living in the present is not about ignoring the past or avoiding the future. It is about refusing to let them dominate your life. You take what you need from the past as lessons. You prepare for the future as best you can. But then you return to the only moment where action is possible now. Life becomes lighter when you stop dragging the weight of yesterday with you. Most emotional pain doesn't come from what happened, but from reliving it repeatedly. By focusing on the present, you give yourself permission to stop reopening old wounds. You allow healing to happen. You give yourself space to grow without being chained to past versions of who you used to be. The past no longer defines you. Your present actions do. The same is true of the future. Fear comes from imagining outcomes that may never happen. You stress over things that are completely outside your control. You create disaster in your mind long before anything occurs in reality. But when you ground yourself in the present, fear loses its power. You stop living inside imagined scenarios and face reality as it is. You realize that even if challenges come, you will face them with the strength you have in that moment, not with the fear your mind creates beforehand. Living in the present also sharpens your decisions. You start noticing things you used to ignore, your habits, your reactions, your thoughts, the way your body feels, the opportunities around you. Your awareness expands. You become more deliberate, more thoughtful, more grounded. You stop acting on impulse and start acting with intention. This is how transformation truly begins, not through sudden dramatic changes, but through a heightened awareness of each small choice you make. In 2026, the world will continue to be fast, loud, and demanding. But if you learn to live in the present, you will move through it with calmness and clarity. When other people panic, you will stay centered. When others rush, you will move with purpose. When others react emotionally, you will respond with reason. Presence makes you powerful because it removes distraction and replaces it with focus. When you practice being fully here right now, you begin to appreciate life more deeply. The conversations you have feel richer. The work you do becomes more meaningful. The goals you pursue become clearer. Your relationships become more genuine because you are truly present in them, not lost inside your own mind. The present moment is not just a place, it is a skill, one that requires practice, patience, and awareness. But once you master it, you discover a peace that cannot be taken from you. Every moment becomes an opportunity. Every decision becomes a step forward. Every breath becomes a reminder that you are alive, capable, and in control. In 2026, choose to live here fully, intentionally, and consciously. Your transformation begins the moment you stop living in your mind and start living in your life. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become. It is not loud, it is not glamorous, and it rarely feels exciting, but it is the force that quietly shapes every strong, grounded, and successful life. Stoicism teaches that motivation is temporary, emotions are unreliable, and inspiration fades quickly. But discipline endures. Discipline is the ability to act according to your values, not your moods. It is the choice to do what is right, not what is easy. And when you commit to discipline, your life begins to transform in ways that motivation alone could never achieve. Most people wait for the perfect moment to change. They wait for confidence, for clarity, for energy, for motivation. But transformation never comes to those who wait. It comes to those who act consistently even when they don't feel ready. Discipline frees you from depending on the unpredictable rise and fall of your emotions. It gives you structure, direction, and momentum. When your mind tries to convince you to stay comfortable, discipline reminds you of who you want to become. In 2026, discipline will be the foundation of every goal you set and every dream you pursue. Whether you want to sharpen your mind, improve your habits, build inner strength, or achieve personal growth, discipline is the tool that makes it possible. It is the daily commitment to take small steps forward, even on days when progress feels slow. It is the decision to show up for yourself when no one is watching and no one is cheering. These moments, the private battles you win, create the transformation others eventually notice. Stoicism teaches that self-control is freedom. When you discipline your mind, you free yourself from impulses that lead to regret. When you discipline your habits, you free yourself from patterns that limit your growth. When you discipline your emotions, you free yourself from the storms that once controlled your decisions. Discipline does not restrict your life, it expands it by removing the distractions, temptations, and weaknesses that hold you back. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is that it compounds. Small, consistent actions accumulate into massive change. Reading a few pages a day sharpens your mind. Exercising for a few minutes builds strength. Practicing patience deepens your character. Showing kindness strengthens your relationships. Just as small negative habits can destroy your life over time, small positive habits can rebuild it. Discipline is your way of choosing which direction your life grows. People often imagine that discipline requires intense effort, but it actually requires simplicity. You don't have to change everything at once. You don't have to chase perfection. You just have to make an honest effort daily. The smallest act of discipline, a morning routine, a moment of silence, a commitment to learning, choosing not to react impulsively. These acts shape your identity. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to trust yourself. And once self-trust is built, transformation becomes unstoppable. Another benefit of discipline is resilience. When life becomes difficult, people who rely on motivation collapse. But those who have discipline stand firm. They don't crumble because their actions are not built on feelings, they are built on principles. Discipline gives you the strength to endure discomfort without losing direction. It allows you to push through challenges that would normally break you, and each challenge you overcome through discipline becomes evidence of your strength. In a world full of distractions and temptations, discipline becomes a superpower. It allows you to remain steady when others are scattered. It helps you make decisions based on wisdom rather than impulse. It keeps you committed to your long-term vision instead of chasing temporary comfort. In 2026, let discipline become the anchor of your transformation. Not by forcing yourself into extremes, but by choosing daily consistency. Small actions, repeated with discipline, can change your mind, your habits, your confidence, and ultimately your entire life. If you want your future to be stronger than your past, discipline is the path that will take you there, one deliberate decision at a time. Obstacles are not interruptions to your life. They are essential parts of it. Every challenge you face carries a hidden opportunity, a lesson, or a strength you have not yet discovered. Stoicism teaches that adversity is not something to avoid, fear, or resent. Instead, it is something to confront with courage and transform into growth. When you shift your mindset from "why is this happening to me" to "how can this make me stronger," your entire life perspective changes. Challenges stop feeling like attacks and start feeling like training. They stop feeling like barriers and start feeling like stepping stones. In 2026, difficulties will still exist: problems, disappointments, losses, delays, frustrations. But your response to them will determine the direction of your life. When you choose to see obstacles as tools for growth, you remove their power to discourage you. Instead of shrinking under pressure, you rise above it. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with wisdom. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel prepared. Hardship becomes a mirror that reflects your inner strength, your weaknesses, your resilience, and your potential. It exposes what is fragile in you so you can strengthen it. It reveals what is strong in you so you can trust it. Many people believe that an easy life is a good life, but Stoicism teaches the opposite. Ease makes you soft, passive, and unprepared. Struggle makes you sharp, disciplined, and aware. Without challenges, there is no growth. Without resistance, there is no strength. Just as muscles grow through pressure and stress, your character grows through difficulty. Every time life pushes you, you gain the chance to push back with greater force. Every setback becomes a setup for evolution. When something goes wrong, you always have two choices: complain or learn. Complaining drains your energy, distracts your focus, and keeps you stuck. Learning, on the other hand, moves you forward. It helps you understand yourself more clearly. It teaches you patience, perspective, and emotional discipline. It shows you how to adapt instead of break. In 2026, make the choice to learn. Every obstacle you face can expand your wisdom, your resilience, your strength, and your sense of purpose if you let it. Obstacles also reveal your real values. When life becomes difficult, you discover what truly matters and what doesn't. You find out which goals are worth fighting for and which paths you need to abandon. Hard times force clarity into your life. They strip away the unnecessary, the shallow, and the temporary. They bring your attention back to what is meaningful: your character, your integrity, your mission, your growth. Without struggle, many people drift aimlessly. With struggle, they discover direction. Even emotional challenges, pain, disappointment, rejection, failure serve a purpose. They remind you of your ability to endure. They teach you emotional maturity. They show you that your inner world is stronger than your circumstances. Stoicism does not promise a painless life. It promises a powerful one. It teaches you that your strength is not proven when life is easy, but when everything goes wrong and you remain steady. Obstacles also build courage. You cannot call yourself brave if you avoid everything that scares you. Courage is developed by facing uncertainty, stepping into discomfort, and doing what is right even when it feels hard. Each time you face a challenge and survive it, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself more. You stop doubting your abilities. You stop fearing the future. You learn that you're capable of far more than you once believed. When you embrace obstacles, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and start seeing yourself as a student of life. Every situation becomes a teacher. Every problem becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a source of strength. You begin to understand that nothing is happening against you. Everything is happening for your growth. In 2026, challenges will come. But instead of breaking you, they can rebuild you. Instead of stopping you, they can prepare you. Instead of weakening you, they can strengthen you. When you adopt this stoic mindset, your struggles become the foundation of your transformation. You rise not in spite of obstacles, but because of them. Emotional mastery is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. Many people believe that controlling emotions means suppressing them, ignoring them, or pretending they don't exist. But Stoicism teaches something very different. Emotional mastery means understanding your emotions, guiding them, and refusing to let them control your actions or identity. It is not about becoming cold or emotionless. It is about becoming steady, aware, and in command of your inner world. Most people live like leaves in the wind, carried everywhere by shifting emotions, anger, fear, jealousy, stress, desire, insecurity. One moment they feel inspired, the next they feel lost. One small disappointment ruins their entire day. One negative comment destroys their confidence. When emotions rule your decisions, your life becomes unstable and unpredictable. You react impulsively, driven by temporary feelings rather than long-term wisdom. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes not from avoiding emotions, but from learning how to respond to them with clarity. Emotional mastery begins with awareness. You cannot control something you do not notice. When you feel anger rising or anxiety building, the first step is to pause and observe, not react, observe. This simple pause creates space between you and your emotion. In that space you regain control. You begin to see that the feeling is temporary and does not have authority over your actions. Emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you something is wrong, something matters, or something needs attention, but they should not dictate your behavior. In 2026, your emotional stability will be one of the greatest tools you carry through the challenges of life. When others panic, your calmness will give you clarity. When others lash out, your patience will give you power. When others lose control, your self-discipline will set you apart. Emotional mastery makes you unshakable because nothing external can easily disturb your inner balance. Another core aspect of emotional mastery is recognizing the stories your mind creates. Often, emotions are not reactions to reality, but to your interpretation of reality. One comment becomes a personal attack in your mind. A delay becomes a disaster. A mistake becomes a sign that you are not good enough. These narratives intensify emotions unnecessarily. Stoicism teaches you to challenge these stories and replace them with rational understanding. You ask yourself, is this emotion based on facts or assumptions? Is this situation really as bad as it feels? Will this matter a week from now, a year from now? These questions weaken the emotional grip and strengthen your perspective. Practicing emotional mastery also means understanding that peace is your responsibility. If you allow every small event to trigger you, your life will feel chaotic. But when you choose to remain calm, you become the guardian of your own inner world. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt, disappointed, or frustrated. It means you won't allow those emotions to shape your decisions or define your behavior. You rise above them with discipline and wisdom. Emotional mastery is also deeply connected to self-respect. When you react impulsively, shouting, arguing, complaining, or overthinking, you often end up regretting your actions. But when you respond thoughtfully, you protect your integrity, you protect your peace, you protect your growth. You choose to behave according to your values, not your impulses. This is what creates true confidence, the knowledge that you can trust yourself even in difficult moments. Over time, emotional mastery becomes a habit. The more you practice staying calm, the more natural it becomes. The more you respond with reason, the less control emotions have over you. You become someone who is not easily provoked, manipulated, or shaken. You become steady in a world that constantly tries to pull you in every direction. In 2026, emotional mastery will allow you to navigate life with grace and strength. It will help you avoid unnecessary conflict, protect your mental clarity, and make wiser decisions. It will give you an inner strength that cannot be taken from you. And most importantly, it will free you from being controlled by anything outside yourself. When you master your emotions, you master your life. You stop being a prisoner of your feelings and become the architect of your future. This is not just a Stoic idea, it is a path to freedom, to peace, and to the best version of yourself. The sixth principle of this journey into transforming your life in 2026 is learning to accept fate and flow with the rhythm of life instead of fighting against it. This is where the deepest Stoic wisdom lies. It is not about giving up. It is not about becoming passive, and it is definitely not about letting life control you. It is about understanding that there are two worlds you live in, the world within you which you can control, and the world outside you which you cannot. The Stoic Blueprint teaches that the more energy you invest in trying to change the external world, the more you drain your strength, increase your frustration, and lose your peace. But the more attention you give to mastering your inner world, the more powerful and unshakable you become. Every day, events will unfold that test you. Plans will break, people will disappoint you, opportunities will slip through your fingers, and life will unfold in ways you never expected. Most people respond to this with anger, stress, overthinking, and emotional chaos. They blame the world, they blame fate, they blame others, and eventually they blame themselves. But none of that changes reality. Stoicism teaches a far more effective approach. Accept what happens, not because you approve of it, but because resisting it makes no difference. Accepting fate means you stop wasting energy fighting battles that cannot be won. It means you conserve your strength for what can be influenced. And through this acceptance, you unlock a sense of calm that most people never experience. Think of the countless times you stressed over something. That was already happening: the traffic jam, the rejection email, the delay, the betrayal, the unexpected expense. No amount of worry changed the outcome, but it did change you. It exhausted you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. Now imagine responding differently. The moment something beyond your control happens, you take a breath. You tell yourself, this is outside my influence. And you shift your focus to what is in your control, your mindset, your reaction, your next step. That shift alone can transform how you experience life. Suddenly, problems become manageable, challenges become lessons, and setbacks become redirections. Acceptance also builds resilience. When you stop fighting reality, you stop breaking yourself against it. You begin to bend with life instead of shattering under pressure. You become flexible, adaptable, and mentally strong. You learn to adjust rather than collapse. This psychological flexibility is one of the greatest superpowers you can develop in 2026, especially in a world where uncertainty is the new normal. When others panic, you remain steady. When others complain, you take action. When others get consumed by fear, you stay grounded. This alone sets you apart from 99% of people. But acceptance does more than protect your peace. It expands your clarity. When you are no longer blinded by emotions, you can see situations objectively. You can make better decisions. You can respond with intention, not impulse. You start noticing opportunities hidden inside challenges and strengths hidden inside adversity. You begin to understand that everything life brings, good or bad, can be used to build you rather than break you. And most importantly, acceptance connects you with inner peace. Not the temporary peace that comes from distraction or comfort, but the deep, stable peace that is rooted in wisdom. You feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with yourself. You no longer feel like life is pulling you in every direction. Instead, you feel like you are moving with life, not against it. This is the essence of Stoic serenity, allowing fate to play its part while you master your own. Transforming your life in 2026 requires this mindset. Accept what you cannot change, influence what you can, and let go of the rest. When you live this way, peace stops being something you chase and becomes something you carry within you.